Florida State fans are thrilled to have Jordan Travis back for the 2023 season after he put up a career year for the Seminoles. But when he comes back, is there a chance that he could be the best quarterback in the country? We think so, and we're going to talk about it next. Hey guys, thanks for coming to the channel. Thanks for coming and watching this video. Make sure that you're subscribed. I know it's a new year coming up. We're going to have a ton more content and keep it very, very focused here on YouTube. Appreciate you guys for all the support and all the love this year. Make sure you're subscribed. Click those comments below. Love to chat with you about JT13 and what you think about his upcoming 2023 season. Brendan Sonnone of Noles 247 pointed out that according to Pro Football Focus, Jordan Travis has an overall grade of 91.8 currently. That leads all Power 5 players. He is the best Power 5 quarterback in the country according to Pro Football Focus. Now, there are a couple of games remaining, and some guys that he's been jockeying for that spot could overtake him, but it's close. And I just want to say, this is remarkable. Shout out to Sonnone for finding that and putting that out on social media yesterday. But what Jordan has done to rise to the top spot, according to a very well-recognized outlet in PFF, is nothing short of phenomenal. He's ahead of guys right now like Caleb Williams, Drake May, CJ Stroud, and others who are competing for the highest of high this weekend and over the next week. Jordan Travis is now getting that national recognition. We've known all year, we've really known for maybe the last year and a half how good he can be. He's elevated his game once again to not only be getting the recognition of Florida State fans or people around the ACC or the South, national recognition, where now he is the #1 quarterback in the country, according to Pro Football Focus. Regular season, he finished top 3. So this isn't just some miraculous bowl game where he stat padded and got a bunch of stats to be able to move up in the rankings. No, he has been great, and I'll say elite all year when it comes to his play, not only passing the ball, but running the ball in situations that he needed to. And again, well-deserving for Jordan Travis to have the #1 spot when it comes to quarterbacks in the Power 5, according to PFF. His consistency has been remarkable, and the fact that he's been able to go out week in and week out and put up good numbers, lead his team, and really be that solid rock that the Noles need to move the team forward has been pretty special. I want to talk about his growth overall. Jordan Travis came to FSU a few years ago, and I think people were excited at the pickup, but I don't think anybody thought that we could be talking about one of the best players in the country. In fact, nobody thought he could even pass when he got here. We used him to run the ball a ton. You shout out the GOAT, Odell Haggins, for putting him in and getting him his first score, and it was a cool moment. It was exciting. I think he took a touchdown on a long run, his first play ever, but that's pretty much all he was used for. Ton of a run here and there, maybe pick up something when the defense wasn't ready, but we didn't use him throwing the ball. And then the next year, he couldn't beat James Blackman out for the starting spot. He came in later through the year and showed some good things against teams like UNC, and he led the comeback against Jacksonville State so the Noles could get that win in 2020. But still, a little bit of a struggle for the Noles with him throwing the ball. In 2021, he certainly got much better. He beat out McKenzie Milton, who came in kind of hobbled, but was able to beat out McKenzie, and the Noles were a different team when he was in there throwing the ball. I think that him not being available for some games was another knock against him. We lost 3 games last year that he could not and did not go in. NC State, we lost the Wake Forest game, and obviously the Jacksonville State game. And so I think his availability was a big issue. That wasn't a problem at all this year. One of my bold predictions before the season started was that Jordan Travis would start all 12 games, and I know he missed a little bit of time in that Louisville game and then missed a little time down the stretch because he wasn't playing in second halves against teams that we were blowing out. But he was in there every snap that he was needed outside of Louisville and really was the difference. If Jordan's not there, I don't think we have the season that we're talking about now. Heck, looking at some of the stats from this season, he was remarkable. 3,200 passing yards, over 400 rushing yards, 31 total touchdowns when you take his passing and his rushing. And don't forget, he caught a touchdown pass this year, which was a ton of fun. So shout out to JT for being really, really good there. 64% completion percentage. He was very accurate this year. The year that Jameis won the Heisman, Jameis threw a 66.9% completion percentage. He's just a smidge under that. If you take out the drops that Jordan suffered this year with different guys, not being as reliable as Kelvin and Rashad and Kenny were and Nick O'Leary were back in 2013, I bet that percentage is even closer to being pretty equal. Jordan was phenomenal this year throwing the ball, and his growth overall has been remarkable. I want to talk about Jordan's game against Oklahoma, back up a little bit, talk about the Florida game a few weeks ago. Before we do that, though, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Gramco. You can go to thegramco.com, use code TJ25. Look, I'm wearing a Gramco shirt right now. Thegramco.com, TJ25 for all the best in Delta 8 products. Whether you're looking for gummies, wake and bake coffee, whether you need some kind of odorless, flavorless powder that you want to mix into your mixed drinks or your recipes that you're cooking or baking up, they are your one-stop shop for all Delta 8 products. They are the best on the market. They're Florida State fans and alums. They're vet-owned, and they will get you taken care of. TJ25 at checkout, thegramco.com. We'll link it above and in the description. Make sure that you go and support. We have people all the time ask, how can we support? Support those that support us, thegramco.com. I want to talk about a career night for Jordan, leading the comeback against Oklahoma. Obviously had 418 yards, 27 of 38 passing. Had a really good night with a few drops in there. And I think if you gave him maybe 3 of those drops back, his completion percentage is probably like 30 of 35 because some of those were pretty long passes. You probably need less passes to get down the field. He throws a few less balls. He completes a few more. Pretty remarkable, special night. He had 2 touchdowns, obviously did have the interception as well on the final play of the third quarter. Shout out Brett Nevitt, who brought this up. After the interception, Jordan Travis went 9 of 10 down the stretch. He had 50 rushing yards, and he obviously led the game-winning touchdown drive. Jordan was not fazed, and I thought this was what was most impressive about this game. You're playing in a bowl game, and you've got several guys that have gotten injured throughout the game. You're down a couple of scores to a team that you're not really slowing down. That Oklahoma was doing a lot of what they wanted, and I never really expected Florida State to quit, but I think things could have snowballed out of control. We saw earlier this year that Florida State just wasn't able to get it going when they were down by a couple of scores. In fact, going into this game, when Florida State trailed by 2 scores, they were 0-2. They lost to both Wake Forest and Clemson. And I thought that this one was special because it showed how much this game meant, not only to the team and the staff and the fan base, but to Jordan specifically. I think Jordan knows what the ceiling is potentially next year. I think Jordan knows what people's expectations of him are potentially next year. And I think he knew how important it was to finish off this really good season on the high note. I think it's incredible that Florida State was able to come back. And now in back-to-back games, Jordan Travis has led game-winning touchdown drives. We don't really get to see that a whole lot, right? Think about how Florida State played down the stretch. Jordan wasn't playing in the second half very often, the second half of this season. We obviously didn't see any game-winning touchdown drives in the games that Florida State lost. And then, you didn't see it early because Tate was the one to get it against Louisville. But then for back-to-back games, Jordan Travis to lead his team down, set up the go-ahead touchdowns against Florida, set up the go-ahead field goal against Oklahoma. Pretty special for Jordan to put that together and that be kind of the signing off moment of his 2022 season. Norvell's development of Travis has been remarkable, and Mike Norvell put all of his eggs into that basket and said, nope, I'm not bringing in transfers, though people criticized him for that. I'm not going to the portal. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I am riding with Jordan Travis, and I think Mike knew that he had something in the competitor and the athlete and the person that Jordan Travis is. I don't know if he knew that Jordan was going to end up being this good of a passer and this good of a quarterback to where he is, again, the #1 quarterback in the country according to PFF in Power 5. But Mike Norvell took a moderate risk and put all of his eggs into one basket, and it's paid off for him tremendously. Norvell's development of Jordan Travis is something that I don't remember seeing anywhere else. You've had guys that maybe came in that were unheard of, that shined or starred. Obviously, you think about Brady getting in back in the early 2000s. Nobody had even heard of him, and he comes out to be the greatest ever. But this is different. Jordan was a quarterback that wasn't very good and is now, after 3 or 4 years, blossomed into one of the best college football quarterbacks that we've seen. He might only be behind 3 quarterbacks that have a W to start their name here in Tallahassee. Is the Heisman realistic next year? What's the ceiling with Jordan Travis? I'll say this. I think the only game that you wouldn't say the Noles should win next year is probably that game in Clemson. And I think they've got a great chance to do that after watching what Clemson did last night. The Noles may not be favored in that game, but I think they're going to be favored in just about every other game they play next season. And I think the ceiling with Jordan is somewhere between 10 and 12 wins. I think that the team around him is going to be very, very good. I think that he is going to elevate his game one more time. And if the Noles are in the conversation for that playoff, because they're somewhere around that 10 to 12 win mark, if the Noles are in that ACC championship, you're going to hear about Jordan Travis as a Heisman candidate. I know he'll have odds to start the season. If the Noles can get a big win against LSU in Orlando, he's going to be in that conversation all year long. Thank you for coming to the channel. Thanks for watching this video. Do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. Let's talk about JT13 down in the comments. I'm losing what little voice I've got left. Lost most of it at the game the other night, but I appreciate you guys' support. Wanted to put this out for you. One final piece of content before the year's over. Appreciate you guys so much. Love y'all. Go Noles.